Okay, so let's go. Hey everyone, thanks for joining Solidity Saturday. That's my, oh no, just give me a minute. Yeah. So hey everyone, welcome to Solidity Saturday number 2. And today we've got some fun things planned. But before we go ahead, let me just introduce myself. I'm Akshita. I'm a full stack engineer with about 7 years of experience. Recently dabbling in Web3, and I'm based out of Singapore. Yingtong, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Ing Tong, and I've worked on the Ethereum project and as well as currently the Zcash project. And yeah, I'm happy to be getting back into some Solidity development, and I'm happy that everyone could join us today.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead very quickly to the agenda. So what we have planned today is basically trying to get an ERC20 token up and deployed and then interacting with it. That's the gist of it. And by virtue of that, we will be dabbling into Solidity events, which are kind of critical when you're getting into this world, and then trying to, and best practices, and then trying to like interact with those tokens using a D app and things like that. So in terms of the 4 steps or the 4 parts that we've broken it down into, firstly, I'll be taking you through the installations and setup required to set up a development environment locally. Those of you who attended last time, we did it via Remix, which was like a web IDE. But now we're going to bring it home and we are going to do it in our own system. The reason that's important is that it just makes it so much easier and you're not more customizable. Then Yingtong will take you through deploying your ERC20 token with all best practices and digging deeper into events and how they get stored in the blockchain. Then I'll take you through using those events in a D app and seeing how they get reflected in a client-side app that is talking to the blockchain. And then finally, we'll try to exchange all our different tokens that we create today on Uniswap, which is a decentralized token exchange. So, yep, let's get started with installations and setup. So to set up the local dev environment, we are going to be using something called Hard Hat. And what is Hard Hat? If you go to the website, then it's just, I mean, I already said it. It's Ethereum development environment for professionals. What it's doing is that it is going to get the Ethereum the Ethereum network into your into your local system, and then it's going to give you the ability to run Solidity locally, to debug it efficiently, to test your contracts, to uh, put in your own tools, to customize automations. For example, before I deploy something, I want to run tests on my Solidity contract, things like that. So it basically provides the whole infrastructure of tools that you require to be a pro level Ethereum developer. Uh, okay. So in terms of hard hat concepts, it's pretty lean. Most of the things it gives out of the box, and it's unopinionated in the sense that it is very easily extensible. The two main concepts in hard hat are that of tasks and plugins. So we'll be trying to set up a task today in hard hat, and then we're not using plugins today, I think, but these are plugins that you can actually go. It's like a marketplace sort of thing, and you can go and check out those plugins from there and install whatever you need. A task is reusable functionality, and a plugin is essentially reusable configuration. It will make sense once we go into setting up hard hat. Okay, so let me go ahead and bring this down.
Can I ask how many people have Hard Hat already installed? You can unmute or you can tell us in the chat. Because if no one says anything, we'll assume that no one has Hard Hat and we're gonna go through this installation.
Yep.
Okay, I think yeah, let's go through it.
Okay. Can I check if everyone has Node installed? I know the poll said most of you do, but a yes would be nice. Okay, cool. Okay, so hard hats tutorial or installation doc is pretty straightforward and easy to follow. So I'm just going to follow that. It's basically creating a new hard hat project. Now, let me say KDIR my token, and I move to my token folder. Uh, it's so you have Node, right? So you can install hard hat via Node. That's why. Yeah, we'll use Inferior later today also. Okay. Then we do npm init. Yes, just generates your package.json and then npm install cdev hardhat. Okay, this will take a little bit of time. I know Yingtong is a big fan of hardhat. You want to elaborate a little?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, while that's loading, I think Hardhat is a relatively new project, and yeah, from my perspective, it's just improved developer experience greatly. For Ethereum devs, before Hardhat, I think people were using Truffle JS, and that was just it was more magical, by which I mean there were more black boxes and there was less configurability. Whereas Hardhat, I think for me it's more intuitive. The CLI, the features, everything. Hardhat, like, you know, it comes with a whole testing suite as well. It's compatible with the Chai testing suite if there are any JavaScript developers here. Um, so you can write unit tests for your smart contracts, and you can test locally, and you don't have to always deploy to a test net in order to make sure your contract is working as expected. So I don't think we will go through writing tests today. I think, yeah, maybe in a future session. But really, for me, what Hardhat does, it basically brings like Solidity like right into the JavaScript ecosystem. It gives you all the conveniences and all the functionalities that you're used to on the blockchain. So I love Hardhat. Yes, they're not paying me, but I love them.
Yeah, that's I probably don't get your pain point that much, but I did when I started working on this, I did start off with Truffle and all, and Hardhat does seem much more powerful than Truffle and Ganache.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have Hardhat in here. Now what I'm going to do is npx Hardhat, and that should initialize a Hardhat project for me. And I'm going to go ahead and just create an empty Hardhat config here. And that should give me a basic hardhat config.js. Now this is the life system or the root of a hardhat project, I'd say. This is where you define all your tasks, and this is where you define all your configs that will be required later. So in terms of defining a task, like I mentioned before, a task is nothing but a set of it's reusable functionality. So for today, I think I'm just going to demonstrate how it works. And yeah, it's going to do nothing complicated. It's just going to take in my name as a parameter and say good morning to me. So let's see. So to define a task in Hardhat, this is how you do it. Start off with task, and then you name the task. And add a param. For me, I'm going to add a param called name. And then you want to define what it does when when this task gets called. Task args. So I'm going to just take my name and say GM.
GM.
Yeah. Is it visible? Okay. Does that make it better? Okay, so once we have this task here, now by virtue of putting this task greet here, what I have access to now is npx hard hat greet name Akshata, and hopefully that should work. Unrecognized task great. Okay. Let's go in and check out creating a task. I don't need this, right? Okay, that works. That was a misimport. Okay, so that should be your first task. Now this is a relatively simple, stupid task, but you can do more complicated things. If you look at the hard hat tutorial, then they have a task to print out the balance of an account. So this will give you access to something like I can do npx hard hat balance account and then specify the account name and it'll give me the balance of that. So at this point, I am going to launch a poll to check if everyone's doing okay with hard hat, installing it and then creating a task. Okay, if anyone's stuck, please feel free to unmute and ask or put it on chat. We have a 50-50% breakup. Okay.
Oh, now it's a 60-40.
Okay. I think
If you,
yeah.
if you want to put maybe what errors are you getting, you could tell us. You could put it in the chat. We could help debug. It's a small group today, so we have that luxury where, yeah, we can actually debug together. Okay.
Okay, we have back to 50-50.
That's everyone. Okay. How about this? Like, we'll let you continue trying to install Hard Hat. Maybe by the end of the next section, if someone still does not have Hard Hat, then that's debug.
Yep, sounds good. We'll need the hard hat set up to deploy our tokens, so kind of critical there. Okay, I am going to end the poll and move forward. So that was all about hard hat. I'll let Yingtong take over to deploy your ERC20. You want to share?
Okay, I'll screen share. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna share my whole screen.
Okay.
So, does everyone see my slides?
Yep.
Okay, great. So yeah, now that we have Hard Hat, what we can do, we can actually write a contract in it And today we're going to write an ERC20 token contract. So yeah, the ERC20 is actually a standard. By this, I mean that it's a standard that was proposed through the Ethereum improvement proposals. Is a protocol level sort of agreement on how a simple token should be implemented. So what this means basically is that we agree as a whole network on some kind of interface. So we agree on a shared set of functions and events. And yeah, these are pretty reasonable functions you would expect from a token. For example, maybe you want to know the total supply of the token in existence. Maybe you want to know how much of this token some account owns. And I mean, crucially, you want to be able to transfer this token from some sender to some recipient. And this interface also specifies certain events. So for ERC20, we have the transfer event, we have the approval event. And if you read through the EIP, the Ethereum Improvement Proposal, you'll see that it basically demands that, let me find it. It demands that certain functions like transfer must fire certain events like the transfer event. So yeah, basically if you want your token to be ERC20 compliant, you have to follow all these conditions specified in the EIP. And if everyone does follow these rules, what this gives us is a very universal token that clients and third parties like Etherscan or exchanges can rely on and can use. And we don't have to worry about the specifics of the implementation as long as we know that this basic set is available. So yeah, the ERC, we're going to talk a little bit more about events today. That's because we didn't cover them last session, and it's also because we'll be making heavy use of them later on in the DApp. So yeah, events are sort of a special thing in the EVM. So the ERC20 token has a transfer event, right? And we can actually see an example of it here on Etherscan. So this is a transfer from some transaction that was transferring a Binance token. This on mainnet, yeah. And this transfer emitted a transfer event. Okay, so if you go and look at this transfer event, you'll see that it has certain topics and it has a data. And how we can interpret this event log is basically as follows. So first of all, the number of topics here, we have 3 topics here. Basically, that's determined by the signature of your event. So yeah, if you index topic 1, index topic 2, and you can actually go up to 3 index topics, and that would take you up to this opcode log 4. So the reason why it's log 4 is because the first index topic is reserved for something that I'll explain in the next slide. Yeah, so basically, if you recall our opcode sort of deep dive from last session, emitting an event corresponds to one of these opcodes, log 0 to log 4. And each topic in an event can hold a maximum of 32 bytes of data. So it's a pretty restricted sort of data type. Yeah. And like I said just now, the first index topic is reserved for the event signature, or to be precise, it's a Kajak hash of the event signature. So it's like transfer address value. That signature, you put it in a Kajak hash, and you put a Kajak hash in the first topic. And then the next 2 topics are what you specified in the signature, right? You wanted the from address, you wanted the to address. And that's all the index topics we have. And in addition, we have this data field. You can see that it's not indexed. And what this means that is that first of all, it's not searchable. Meaning you, for example, I can search for transfers from Alice to Bob. Yeah, I can search it using these two topics. But if I wanted to search for transfers with like value 7.7, I would not be able to do that because the value is a data field, not a topic field. But on the other hand, data is not limited to 32 bytes. It's arbitrary length, and it's a lot cheaper than the topics. So you can sort of think of the topics as keys and the data as values. Yeah. You can search using topics, but you can only get the data. Yeah. And if you want to look at the contract creation opcode, you can see that at some point there's a log 3 that appears in the contract creation opcode. And earlier there was a push 32 of this hash 0xddf, which looks familiar. It's simply the hash of our transfer method. So basically we're saying we want to log an event with 3 topics, and the first topic is this event signature. Yeah. So, by the way, interrupt me at any time. Actually, help me keep a lookout in the chat. I can't see the chat.
Yeah.
If you have questions, ask me at any time.
Yep, I'm looking at the chat. So yeah, there is a question.
Yep.
Skandesh is asking, so each transaction creates a unique how do you pronounce
Kachak. I say Kachak.
Kachak, yeah. Kachak hash.
Okay, so you're saying does each transaction create a unique Kachak hash? So yeah, how you can think of this signature. Yeah, basically every transaction and every event has a signature. So the signature is simply what we're looking at here, the name of the event or function and the arguments that it takes. And then you can put that signature into a Kajak hash and get out a hash. So yeah, there is a one-to-one mapping between a function and the hash of its signature. And same for events. Yeah. And in fact, this is how the EVM knows which function to call during the execution of a message. Yeah. So something about events, they're stored in a different part of the EVM state. So they're they're not stored in the world state or the transactions tree. They're stored in the receipts tree. And along with a bunch of other information, every transaction generates a receipt, and the event is included in the receipt. And the thing about these receipts, right, is that they are write only, meaning that as a smart contract, you cannot read from the receipts. Yeah, even if you're the smart contract that like created this receipt, you can't access it. Um, So it's a write only. What it is useful for is for applications that are not on the blockchain. So applications, third party apps that are monitoring the blockchain and taking note of these events that are emitted. Yeah, so that's sort of our explainer of events. Having said all that, we're now ready to implement this ERC20 token standard. So if you guys have been looking at the hard hat tutorial, there is one point, I think step 4, where we get into coding a token contract, right? And you will notice on the page that they remind you that this token is not an ERC20. So what this means is that by like a quick inspection, you can see their token contract has no events, for example. It's missing a few methods, and so it does not comply with the ERC20 token standard. Um, and that's just how Hardhat chose to do their tutorial. But we're gonna just go ahead and do an ERC20 token. Um, and how we're gonna do this is we're gonna use the Open Zeppelin library. So Open Zeppelin is a great project. They're known for implementing a whole bunch of protocols and a whole bunch of standards in a very clean way and a very reusable, modular way. And what we should do now is in your project, do npm install at Open Zeppelin /contracts. Um, I'm gonna actually, oops, that is the wrong VS Code. Yeah, so here's my project. Yeah, I already have it, obviously, but just showing you. Um, yeah, so what we're doing, we're importing this whole contract library, and it's full of like standards, templates, interfaces that will be very useful for us today. Okay, so if we all have Open Zeppelin installed, then that makes our life a lot easier. We're gonna write a contract now. Um,
Should we do a quick check first again if everyone has hard hat?
yes, let's. Oh yeah, does everyone have hard hat? Yeah.
I'm going to relaunch it just to get another idea. Okay, so far everyone has it. 5, 6, 5. Okay,
Really? That's great.
yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, awesome.
So in your hard hat project, right? At the root of the project, create this folder, create this contracts folder. And then within the contracts folder, let's make a Solidity file, a contract. You can call it token.sol or whatever you want. So yeah, you can see my token.sol is just literally 20 lines. Um, and that's because this import on line 5 is doing the heavy lifting for us. So if you go and look at the Open Zeppelin's ERC20 sol, which we've imported, um, it's a lot more than 20 lines, right? It's a it's an implementation of the ERC20 token standard. And this contract itself, it inherits from a bunch of other contracts. So, for example, IERC20 is the interface. A lot of these functions are not implemented. IERC20 metadata, context. I actually don't know what a bunch of these are. What I'm trying to express here is that Open Zeppelin has taken care of a lot of this. And on top of this, we are now free to build our own token. We are free to add to it and customize it. And we don't have to worry about the parts of ERC20 that should be protocol and should be standard. So using a library like Open Zeppelin is considered best practice. Um, so yeah, you could actually go to the slides and copy paste this slide. I've made the text copy pasteable. And yeah, but you can actually, change the name of your token, and you can change its symbol. You could change also the initial supply of it. So all that is up to you. Um, yeah. So now, once we're done with this, we're actually ready to deploy. So this is the part where before we deploy, does everyone have a token.sol in a contracts folder?
I don't have a poll for this, so maybe a
Oh
thumbs up
yeah.
on chat would be great. Okay, Nisha has her token.sol. Anyone else? Yep, Jordi has it. Let's wait for one more. I didn't. Uh, are you running into issues with it, or you don't have the code, or yeah, maybe unmute yourself and let us know what's happening so that we can help you.
So I need to create the token.solve file from the tutorial which you shared, right?
Yeah, so you can create a new file and then copy paste the code that Yingtong has on the slide.
Okay, got it. I will try it.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have three. Let's go forward.
Okay, yeah. So after we have token.sol, we can move on to deploying it. And this is the part of the tutorial where we'll interact with the blockchain. We're going to do it on testnet, obviously. So, yeah, I've put in the slides a hardhat config.js that you can copy and paste as well. So, all right, remember when we asked you to sign up for Inferior? So, what Inferior is? Okay, let me see. I hope I have it on this computer. Hmm, I do not. Um, so what Infura is, it's a service that they basically run a full node and they provide an RPC endpoint which your applications can query. So it gives you basically access to information from the blockchain. Yeah. You could, if you're running your own full node, you could simply point your RPC endpoint to your full node. But a lot of people don't run their own full node, and Infura adjusts that. Um, so yeah, you want to have some Infura API key. I believe that's the project ID. Infura calls that project ID. Um, and then from MetaMask, you want to get the private key for your account. So you want to export the private key. Let me see. Yeah, you can see that I've put my private key here and I'm showing it to everyone. So if you have real money in your account, you should never ever 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 do this. Um, but for me, this is an account, a test account, and that's why I've put it here. And in fact, if you want to use my private key and my Inferior API key, you can go ahead and do that. But if you have your own Inferior setup and your own MetaMask setup, use your own key. Um, yeah. And then from line 11 down, it should be the same for everyone. So, okay, yeah, this part requires some setup, and I'm gonna do like a check and see how people are doing here.
Let me start a poll.
Yeah, or we can just
Yeah,
you can just
we can just
yeah, give
wait
us
for
a
people.
thumbs up, thumbs down. If you don't want to set up all this stuff, like I said, just use my keys. But I want to stress again, you should never ever do this in real life, ever. Yeah. Sometimes people accidentally publish their private keys to GitHub, and GitHub history is immutable. So do not ever do this. Yeah. In fact, does Hardhat have a git ignore by default? Yeah. I don't know. It's dangerous. Some people might upload this config to GitHub, and if that happens to you, you must immediately transfer all funds off this account. Um, so who has their config.js set up? Let's ask it that way.
Can we show them how to create the Inferior API key, or they have to do it themselves? It,
Okay, let me run through it. I have Infura on some other laptop, but oh, Inferior needs a lot of private information from you. Oh, God. I have an account. Okay, this is horrible practice. I'm like typing in my password on screen. Great. So if you've just made an account, right? Um, what you can do, create new project, and we want the Ethereum network. Let's name it SolSat, Solidity Saturday. So yeah, this will create an endpoint for your project, SolSat, right? And then you want the endpoint to point to the Rinkeby testnet. And then, yeah, basically this project ID here, copy it, put it in the Inferior API key. And then this endpoint here, oh, yeah, this endpoint here is basically this URL. And your Rinkeby private key, export it from MetaMask. So over here, how do I do this? Account one, account details, export private key. Okay. Whoop. Whoop. This horrible OPSEC. Account details, export private key. Yes. So click to copy, put it here. And that should be it. Yeah.
I think once you have Infura set up and this config set up, you can let us know by putting it in the chat. And then once we have 3 or 4 people, we can go forward.
Yeah, let's do that.
Are you sure your private key doesn't have any fun?
I'm pretty sure because I made it yesterday.
Okay. Just taking a chance in case we got lucky.
Are you gonna steal my Rinkeby ETH? My hard-earned 1.88 Rinkeby ETH.
Anybody, I hope everyone has Rinkeby ETH. If you don't, then you can get it off this faucet by logging in with Twitter.
Yeah, or if you want us to send you some, we can do that.
Yep.
You can just give us your public key.
Okay, there's a lot of silence here. How's everyone doing? Okay. Rinkeby ETH Tonisha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending it through.
Okay.
Okay, there's more requests for Rinkeby coming in. Nisha, is
Mm-hmm.
for you already? You should have some. Yep, and I'm sending you some also.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
7. Okay, I finally have my poll set up. Let me check.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best practice to hide private keys in the source code? Put it in the env variable and get ignored? I'm not.
Yes, I think that's how most people do it. Yes. So I think you would ignore this hardhat config JS, or make a .env and ignore that. Yeah, something like that.
So, how do we get Rinkubi ETH ourselves on other days? You usually have public faucets that give you testnet ETH. So, I've posted the link to one faucet in the chat right now. You can go there, sign in with Twitter, put in your public address, and they'll send you a bunch of test ETH on different networks.
Yeah, they mostly want social network. Yeah, some Twitter
Yeah, maybe show them faucet.paradigm.xyz. It's pretty neat.
paradigm.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, one
paradigm's
question.
cool.
On Inferior key, is it the project secret or the project ID from the weapon?
ID. It's a project ID.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Sign in with Twitter. I don't feel like doing that right now, but yeah.
Okay, we have 4 out of 4. So,
Okay, perfect.
yep.
Um, so now we are ready to actually deploy this contract to Rinkaby. And how we're gonna do that? We're gonna use the heart hat command over here. Let me make it bigger. npx heart hat run scripts / deploy.js -- network Rinkaby. You could probably paste it in a chat, Akshata.
Yep. Let me do that.
So this should just work. If it doesn't work, it should error out quickly. Yeah.
I have a poll for this. So once you
Uh-huh.
have it deployed, just press yes so that we know. Still stuck. Let's go. So 50.
I'm gonna just deploy it as well.
Yep.
I've deployed about 10 of these contracts, but yep.
We have a lot of coins.
This is in way, so it's not an eighth. So yeah, if you see something like what I see here, you should have your token address. And what you could do, you could look it up in the Rinkaby Etherscan. So, okay, Rinkaby Etherscan. Look up your contract. It might take a while because the transaction has to be mined by the Rinkaby miner. And that's probably just one person somewhere. So, this is my contract I've just deployed. And you can see that, yeah, it's Etherscan recognizes it as an ERC20, and it has this tracker for it, for my token MTKN. And you can go and look at, yeah, basically the state of your token. There's 1,000 of it. There's only one person holding it, which is me. Yeah.
You guys can name your token differently. Actually, we should have covered. But if you
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can put it. It's over here in your token contract. You
You
can
can change
name it whatever.
It's probably better to have different initials for your tokens because we are going to ask for a volunteer later and try to swap out tokens.
Yeah.
Do we need to test the contract before deploy? Uh,
Generally, that is a good idea. Yes, it is. Um, we are not covering testing today. The reason is because I've just imported the ERC20.sol and I've not done much on top of it. If you're writing your own contract or if you're adding more methods, then yes, it is a good idea to test it. Like writing any software, test it, unit test it, everything.
I mean, I guess it's also, we didn't sanity check it locally. We just directly deployed it. But the reason we are doing that is because it's just importing.
Yeah. There is a test. Hardhat does have a test that you can do. And let's see. I had gotten this from the tutorial. So I think this is just a test that checks that the total supply of the token is equal to the balance of the owner of the contract, meaning all the tokens have gone to the contract owner, the person who deployed it. So that's just one example of a test, and this is using Chai. It's tested completely locally. So they set up like a fake blockchain for you locally with all the accounts that you need. Yeah. And this uses the Ethers library, which is another amazing project. So if anyone has deployed their contract, we would appreciate your contract addresses in the chat. And yeah,
I think
we will get,
there are two people who have from the poll.
yeah, nice.
Okay. Yeah. So I think for that you need to install the plugin Nomic Labs Hard Hat Waffle. I probably skipped that step. Should have done it.
Oh,
So just
yeah.
npm install. I'm putting it in the chat, the command that you need to run.
Yeah, it's this one, right? From
Yeah.
the tutorial.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
This is an example of a plugin that we talked about before. A hard hat plugin. Okay, one person still stuck. Anyone
Yeah.
want to mute and ask? And for the people who've deployed it already, yeah, can we have your token addresses? I wonder how you, so if I create a token, the initial minting, the initial quantity that I mint of it, right? Can I refill it again? Can I add more?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, your token starts off with a finite supply. Yeah. And that's the max number of tokens that can ever exist.
That's by virtue of the interface, or is it?
Uh, let me see. ERC20, is there a, can you mint again? No, mint is only an internal thing. Yeah. The total, oh, increasing the total supply. Oh yeah, you can write another function that calls mint internally and increase the total supply. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
scratch what I said before. Yeah.
So a token in essence can be an entire economy, right? Like burning off stuff and minting more depending on some.
Yeah, yes. You can burn, you can mint. Yeah. But I believe the way we have written our token, you cannot ever mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does
If we wanted to, we could have written like a function mint that like calls mint inside here. Like, yeah.
Yeah, something to note over there is we probably want an access modifier allowing only the owner to mint.
Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that you would need to test.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? Only owner or something. Okay. So how are we doing?
ETH was created after the ERC20 proposal. There's a question on chat.
No, Ether was the native token of Ethereum, and Ether is not an ERC20 token. Yeah, Ether is not ERC20 compliant. But afterwards, they came up with this EIP20 that specified a token standard, and ever since, I think, yeah, it's basically become the default for tokens, for fungible tokens. Yeah.
There's a fundamental difference between Ether and tokens, right? Like tokens, in essence, are smart contracts themselves, whereas Ether, you can actually send to a smart contract via native functions like call data and stuff, but you can't do that
Yes,
with token.
exactly. Like the Ether is special in the EVM. Like when you say like message dot value, the value is always in Ether.
Hmm.
It's it can't be any other value. So yeah, it's a special base level currency in the network. Whereas the ERC20 token is like the only people who care about it are the people who own it, I guess, the people who trade it. But everyone cares about Ether. Um,
I guess in some way it's like a bank, a token, because it's allowing the transfer from one recipient to another, and it's like I don't know, creating a ledger of that particular token asset.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's mhm.
let's do another check. We have two people who say that they've deployed their token already, but I'm not hearing from anyone. Should I relaunch the poll?
Yeah, let's relaunch the poll.
Okay, guys. We need at least one. Okay, one is still stuck. Do you want to unmute and let us know what's happening? Okay, Nisha. Error HH308 unrecognized positional argument network.
Oh, okay. That sounds like it should be networks. Networks. Try that.
Oh no, I think it's with the
Oh.
command I pasted.
Oh, really? Okay. Um
No, maybe I pasted wrongly or something. Can you? Yeah, it seems. Yeah, maybe just keep it on the screen, Nisha. If you can see that, uh, yeah, I, I can copy it and put it on chat also. But that's the command that you need to run. Okay, there's another question. Can an ERC20 be transferred to a different blockchain?
so yeah, now we're talking about like cross-chain interactions um and we're talking about basically making transactions in general from one chain to another. So there are solutions that exist for this. There are bridges. There's, for example, the Interblockchain Communication Protocol (IBC) in Cosmos. Um, yeah, and with these bridges, you should be able to um, execute like general transactions between blockchains. So but it depends, do both of these blockchains understand the EVM, for example, and questions like that. But if you're thinking about specifically, let's say I want to transfer my ERC20 to Bitcoin, let's say, that's not going to happen because Bitcoin doesn't understand the EVM. But let's say I want to transfer Bitcoin to Ethereum and trade it with my ERC20. A way that people have done that is through wrapped Bitcoin. I think if you Google like WBTC, you would see that, yeah, this is an ERC20 token and it's backed 1-to-1 by Bitcoin. So the wrapping mechanism between the Bitcoin blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain is the magic there. And you as a user need to decide whether or not you trust it. Yeah. But I think WBTC is, I think quite a few people trade it actually. Yeah.
Okay, our ratio's gone down from 2 to 3 to 1 to 3. There's only one person who's deployed their token and 2 people are still stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go ahead, but it's not fun without somebody else's token, to be honest.
Yeah. What is the time right now?
It's 3, we have an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe let's give it another 3 minutes and then we'll just go ahead with our tokens. And
Yeah,
if
sure.
somebody else has deployed it, then we can use this. Nisha, how are you doing? Did that solve your
Hey,
issue?
I still have the same. I actually get an error which says argument starts with the non-ASCII dash. Then I tried putting double hyphen, but I was still getting the same error in front of network. It's okay, I'll figure it out. I don't want to hold you guys back.
It is supposed to be a double hyphen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even when I did that, I was still getting like similar error with just the double hyphen. So I don't know if there's something else wrong. But anyways, like
Are you running this from the Hardhat tutorial as your repository?
yes.
You are, okay.
What's your terminal? Is it the VS Code terminal?
Yeah. VS Code.
What happens if actually what is the default network? It's not
Oh, I got a different error now. It says scripts. Sorry, let me just paste it. Doesn't exist. Scripts deploy JS. Just a second. Paste it in the chat.
Oh, deploy.js doesn't exist? Okay.
Do you have deploy.js? Are you in the maybe you want to check if you're in the right folder and then if that deploy.js is there and accessible.
Okay, I'll check that.
Anyone
Yeah,
else? Yeah. Anyone else has any problems, then they can just speak up and that helps the rest of us also.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Okay, I think let's go ahead.
Okay, so we've deployed our contract and we have this neat token tracker on Etherscan for it. So I think the next thing to do is to integrate it into a dApp. So Akshata, you want to screen share?
Yep. I'll take over for this one. Yeah, you see my screen?
I see it.
Okay. So what we did was we basically built a token watcher, and I think we can have fun with watching tokens first and then go into how this code works underneath. So I'm going to post this link in the chat, and my chat has disappeared. Yingtang, can you help me post the link on the chat?
Yes, I can do that. Yep.
Okay, cool.
The Netlify one, right?
Correct.
So
My chat appeared again.
here you go.
Okay, so what this token watcher does is that it takes the token address for wherever we've deployed our token, and then it uses the events that we talked about before to one, get the history of transactions for that token, and second, to continue watching that token for more transactions. So this is my token that I deployed on Rinkeby yesterday. And if you notice, there are like 20 events here, 20 transactions. So it's all these different. This is the first transaction that was the minting transaction where I minted 1,000 of my Atho coins, or no, this was Solidity Saturday coins. So SolSat. And then there were like a bunch of transactions after. So if I click on this link and I go to the token address, this is the contract that created my token. This is the token tracker, right? So you can see that there are 20 transfers and I am getting those 20 events in my React app. Now this is because of those events that we saw that get logged every time a function runs, based on the interface and based on whether we wanted to get logged. But yeah, this is basically pulling from that data source. Now, the interesting thing is that I have a watcher on that event also. So not only am I going to be able to access past historical events, but even now, since I'm watching this particular token, when I do a transaction, when I do a transfer, when I call the transfer function for this token contract, I should be able to listen for that event and have my DApp react to it. So hopefully that works, but yeah, let me check if I have enough SolSat here. So I have 600 SolSat tokens here, and I'm going to send it to, I don't know, you want to send me your public address, Yingtong, or somebody else wants some SolSat? Okay, I'll pick one of the recent addresses. I don't know, it's probably going to Nisha or Skandesh or somebody. But I am
Yeah.
going to send them some SolSat. I'll send you 100 and next. Confirm. And hopefully in a little bit, we'll see something pop up here once this transaction is complete. Okay, there you see it. So now this is basically the listener that was listening to stuff on the blockchain and reacting. I had it set on listening to the transfer function, and now this button shows up that I can click on, and now my transactions are up to 21. This is the last transaction that I did. I'm sorry, Skandesh, I couldn't send it to you. I sent it to somebody else, whoever's wallet address popped up for me. But yeah, so this is how it's working. You can go and put in your own token address here. Actually, somebody give me their token address, or Yingtong, you give me the one that you just deployed, and maybe we can look at it.
Okay, I will give you that. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Actually, am I
Here.
sharing my screen, right?
You're sharing your screen, yes.
Okay. So this is the token address, and yeah, so it's a freshly deployed token, and the only transaction here is still the initial mint that happened. Okay, so now how does this DApp work underneath the hood? Now, the source code is open source. I put it on Code Sandbox, so you can click on that link. It will take you to the Code Sandbox environment. And you should be able to fork it also. What happened? Yeah. So if you guys are familiar with, actually, how many of you guys are familiar with React or general web development? Can we say a yes or a no on chat? Okay. Okay, what about web development? Okay, let's assume that we aren't familiar. But yeah, so uh, for a web page like this, right, you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and the JavaScript is what is adding functionality to your web page, right? So most of this interactive bits that we are doing, that's JavaScript. That's the JavaScript side of things. Now, this is a React app, and React app is basically, it makes it easier to build all these interactive websites or web apps. So I don't want to go into like details of React here. What I want to touch upon is the way that we are interacting with the blockchain from a web page is by virtue of this Web3 JavaScript library. So I have it installed here. The way I did it in Code Sandbox is just go to dependencies and say Web3, it will install it there. If you're doing it locally, then you would have said npm install and installed Web3 like that. But this is additional, it's a library of JavaScript functions that you can pull into your project, and that gives you access to different functions that you can use to talk to the blockchain. So in terms of like the fundamentals, like the basic setups that you'll need to do that, I think like in terms of like building out this whole D app, maybe that's a different session, given the fact that most of you are probably not familiar with React. But there are like 4 steps of interacting with the blockchain using Web3. One is that you want to get the user account address from this web app. And the way you do it is when you have MetaMask installed, when you have MetaMask loaded here, it automatically adds a window.ethereum. It gives you access to that Ethereum object in the window context. And you are able to, within the JavaScript, you are able to extract the address that you've selected, the address that is connected to this app using this Ethereum object. So your first step is to get your user account address. Now that you have the user account address, the next step is to actually connect to the contract on the blockchain. And to do that, you need 2 things. One is you need the contract address, and 2 is you need the ABI. Now, the ABI is like an interface. It basically tells you, it basically tells the person interacting with the contract what functionality the contract has and how to call it or how to use it, right? So usually ABIs you get when you deploy it on a, I don't know, let's say go to Etherscan, and maybe I go to one of, if we go to the last deployed contract from the lottery app, right? That ABI will look significantly different than the one that we are using now. I don't think I'll be able to find it now. Anyway, but yeah, so usually you should be able to find the ABI with a smart contract on Etherscan. What I am doing is I'm taking a subset of an ERC20 ABI and putting it here based on only the stuff that I want to interact with. So there's this link here that gives you most of the functionality that you require in an ERC20, all the stuff that you can like sort of call from an ERC20, check, you can check the balance, you can transfer from, you can approve a transaction, all those functions that we coded and deployed as part of the contract. This is the interface for interacting with it. Now, what I did was I took this and I cut it down to a min ABI to use only 3 of them. So I'm using the transfer function. I'm using the transfer event. And I don't think I need this, but I have an approve function. But within our D app, we are not really using this approve function right now. So the reason I do it is because I want to be able to call the transfer function and I want to be able to call the transfer event. Actually, we're not even using transfer. We're only listening to the transfer event. Now, that is how you initialize a contract with that min ABI and the contract address. And then once you have the contract, then you get you're able to listen to events by saying contract.events.transfer. Now this transfer could be some weird event that you programmed in your contract that you deployed. But I mean, for us, since we deployed the standard ERC20, this thing is going to exist anyway, and we are going to subscribe to it. This from block is options to basically tell that I want all those events from block 0, from the beginning of time. And then this is a callback function that gets triggered when you get like that input that, okay, there was another transfer event that fired. And basically over here, I am doing something in response to that transfer event getting fired. And that's how it's updating. My UI. So when I set new event, it goes and checks if it's a new event or not. I compare it against the last known event that I have. And then I display a button like this. So if it's an old event, then I don't display a button. If it's a new event that just came in, then I display a button over there in the UI. Yep. I don't know if that, if anyone has questions, please feel free to unmute and ask me or put it on the chat. I know it's probably a little involved given the fact that it goes directly into React, but hopefully we can cover it in another session. You can feel free to fork this. So if you go to the code sandbox, there's a fork button here. If you fork it, it's going to fork it in your code sandbox. If you, I don't think you even need an account. It's just not going to save it. And then you can try like changing stuff here, console.logging it, digging through stuff coming in from Web3. Okay, let me know if it's if everyone's had a look at this D app, and if there are no questions, then maybe put a yes on chat and I'll move forward. Okay, cool. Okay, then we come to another fun part, which is trying to trade our tokens on Uniswap. Now, let's go to Uniswap. What's Uniswap? Uniswap is basically a decentralized token exchange. Now, the important thing here is to remember that we deployed our ERC20, right? So it's a standard. That means there are multiple ERC20s existing in the open in the system. And the benefit of having a standard is the fact that all of those tokens will have the same functions, will have the same kind of behavior, which makes it super easy to like interchange, exchange them, and automate processes around them. So what Uniswap is, it's an automatic market maker, which allows you to list your token on their platform and then exchange it for other things. So if I go into my pool here, I already set up something. So I already have a pool set up for SolSat for versus ETH. What's a pool? A liquidity pool is essentially, I'm saying that, okay, this is a decentralized exchange. Now my token doesn't exist on this exchange, but I'm not going to be able to list my token on this exchange for free, right? Like there's no, there needs to be a baseline of what the interchange or interconversion is supposed to be. So I go in and provide liquidity to my token into this exchange by creating a position. So I can basically go in and say that, okay, for 100 SolSat on this exchange, I'm going to put in 0.1775 ETH, something like that. And then that's the amount of SolSat and that's the amount of ETH that will exist on the exchange. And then based on the market dynamics and whether somebody wants to buy my token or not, the price will fluctuate based on Uniswap rules, right? So let's go ahead and try to create, so the first thing I want to do is I want to take Yingtong's newly created token and add it to my MetaMask wallet. Or does somebody have a token already created? That would be more fun. If you have a personal token that you just created, put it in the chat and we'll do it with that. Otherwise, we'll go with Yingtong's.
we have to we have to transfer some of that token to you, I
Correct.
think.
Correct.
You have to own some of it.
Yeah, so let me start off with 0, then you transfer it. Then you transfer it to me, and then we can show that. So that those are Skandesh is asking if for every 100 Solsat you need to deposit 0.17 ETH. That's the initial position that I did. After that, anyone who wants to swap it will sort of depend on the min and max price that I set that I'm willing to accept for that trade. So it might differ from 0.17 ETH. That's just the base. This is not real ETH network. This is Rinkeby ETH. So when you go to Uniswap, it'll take the network that your current account is connected to. So right now this Uniswap is working on Rinkeby ETH. You can spend real ETH and deploy it to the real ETH network, and then you'll be talking real money. Okay, let me add your, do you want to deploy your token with a different name? Because I think I already have one token with that name.
Okay, let me quickly do that. Or let's see. Okay, I'm deploying it now. And in the meantime, do you want to give me your address and I can maybe send you some?
Yep. So I sent it on chat. Don't send it immediately.
Okay.
Don't send it immediately. Let me import your token, see that I have 0 balance, and then let it go up to 100.
Well, okay, I've sent you my token address on the chat, but it might not show up yet because the transaction might be pending still.
Okay, let's try. Yay.
Oh, there it
Okay, just so that everybody noticed how to do it, you can open up your MetaMask wallet. You can go to click on import tokens and put in Yingtong's token contract address that she put into the chat. And it should automatically show you the token symbol and the token decimal. And you add custom token. I have 0 Yay tokens with me right now. I'm going to import that and show it in my wallet. So now when I scroll down, what happened? Where's my
If
token?
you have 0, if
Maybe
you have 0, they might not show it at all.
Oh, interesting. No, I think it used to. Let me add it to another wallet and see. I think I used to be able to see
Hmm.
even 0 balance tokens, but let's try it. For tokens, you have no transactions. Okay. No, maybe. Okay, fine. I guess you're right. It probably doesn't show if it's 0 balance for that token. Now, can you please send me some tokens?
Yep, I'll send you some Yay tokens. Or
If
oh,
anyone
whoops.
If anyone else wants some Yay tokens, send in your public address and we'll send you some.
All right. So I'm gonna send you like 100 maybe. Um. All right. So it's on its way.
Okay, let's see. You
I'm
sent
gonna send Nisha some Yay tokens.
Actually, while you are sending Yay tokens, let me keep watching your token address. Your token address is the one with 0B9, right?
Yes. I'm gonna send Skandash some Yay tokens.
Okay, I see more transactions coming in from for your tokens. I'm watching the token. Are you sending some to Skandesh also?
Yeah, I'll send you 100 as well. Um, okay, that should be on its way.
Okay. Why am I
Do you
not?
see?
I don't.
Oh, you don't see them.
I don't.
Interesting.
I don't know if I have to refresh something. Transfer between. Okay, I see. I see stuff sent to Skandesh also, but I don't see mine. Oh, did you send me any? Because there's one transaction with value 0.
Oh yeah. Whoops. Sorry. Yep. I sent you 0. So let me send you a non-zero amount. Okay, so your events tracker is actually useful. Okay, so now that should be on its way.
Let me get a ping here. Okay, I think I should get somewhere now. Yay, I have it.
Yay! That is the reaction to getting a Yay token. Yeah.
Okay. Yay. Okay. I can go ahead. So now I want to go and list my Yay token in Uniswap so that I can swap it out for SolSat tokens or some other token, even try to get like ETH or DAI out of it. So if I select a token, so the way to list it on Uniswap is similar to MetaMask. You can first try swapping by putting in the token address here. It'll find the token for you. You can import it. But then when you try to swap out, say I want to swap out 0.001 ETH, it'll say insufficient liquidity for this trade because we don't have any EA token in Uniswap right now. So we want to go in and create that liquidity inside Uniswap. And the reason that Yingtong had to transfer those tokens to me is because I didn't have EA tokens. So I need to have both Ethereum and EA tokens initially to create an initial position. So to do that, basically we create a pool. I select my pairs. I'm selecting ETH versus EA. Then I can select some fee tier. And this is basically, so when I create liquidity on Uniswap, I'm not just doing it for my own token, I'm also doing it for profit, right? So I'm supposed to get some percentage of a transaction by virtue of the fact that I'm actually putting in my assets into this Uniswap for the benefit of other people. So I can pick a percentage here, then I can put in some base value. So say 1 ETH is 100 YE. Then I have to put in a min price that, okay, I'm willing to accept 0.001 YE per ETH, and I'm willing to go up to 150 YE per ETH. And when I specify those correctly, then I will be able to deposit both YE and ETH to add liquidity into the system. So right now, let's see. So if I put 100, maybe I put in, I don't want to give up all my YE. So let me put in 50 YE, and that will correspond to 0.09 ETH. I'm going to have to put in both, and I approve this. So there are two things that you need to notice. One is that this will be in two steps. One is you need to give permission to Uniswap to spend your tokens. Now, like we mentioned before, ETH and tokens are two different things. A token is a smart contract in itself. So you can't directly spend it. You can't let Uniswap spend it directly. It needs to be, Uniswap needs to approval from that token contract to be able to spend your tokens on your behalf. And then after that, once Uniswap has taken approval for that, then we can do the transfer function. So in terms of going back to the contract functions that we looked at, if you go back to those slides, you'll see that there's that approve contract function, that there's the transfer contract function, and those are the basic two functions that are coming into play over here. So the first transaction is just giving permission to Yay, since it's it's a function, it's a transaction. It requires some ETH. I confirm that. Then once that's done, Uniswap will have the capability to spend my 50 Yay for me. I hope it doesn't fail. Okay, that's approved. Now I click on preview and I click add. And that will want to spend 0.009 ETH for me on the side, also confirm. Okay. You can view this transaction on Explorer, but once this is done, I should have another position here. Okay, so I have another position here. Now there is Yay token that exists. So if I go to ETH, I select Yay, and then I try to buy 10 Yay for some ETH, it should show up. Now, there are limitations that Uniswap puts to try and control their automated marketing system, so that you're not like transacting too high values that sort of change their prices on the centralized exchange. So you've got to watch out for that. But yeah, okay, I can trade 1 Yay for 0.01031 ETH now. And like the point to take away is not the price, but the availability of interchangeable tokens now on Uniswap. So you can have Yay swapped with
So
ETH.
you can trade Yay for Sol Sat. Yeah, are you gonna do that? Let's try that.
Yep. So I already have
Cool.
Solidity. I can buy 1 Yay for it.
Yay is worth more than Sol Sat, slightly more.
Fine. Let me so I have 5 Yay. After I spend 1.07 Sol Sat, I should have 51 Yay. So let's swap this. Confirm swap. Correct. The price will adjust dynamically. We don't have control over it. It's Uniswap itself is a whole smart contract infrastructure. So they are automating that out. Confirm that, and hopefully now I have 51 Yay. Let's check. Still pending. Okay, I have 51 Yay now, and I lost some of my SolSat. We should have gone the other way. I should have traded Yay for SolSat. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's about interacting with Uniswap using the UI, and then Yingtong is going to dig deeper into what's happening within the smart contracts for this.
Yeah, I mean, you've more or less covered it. So, yeah, we saw just now that basically we made a position, right, between ETH and Yay. And like Akshata said, that involved firstly approving the Uniswap contract as a spender on the Yay token contract. So you can see over here that you actually signed this transaction that approves the Uniswap address. This is the Uniswap. Yeah, it's the Uniswap V3 Positions NFT token contract address. And you approved it to spend this amount, which is the amount of Yay you put into the position, into the liquidity pool. So now that that's done, the second transaction that happened was when we were swapping. Oh, sorry, this is still creating the pool. So the second transaction that happened is you transferring you transferring the token to the Uniswap NFT contract and receiving an NFT from them in return. And so every Uniswap position is actually represented by an NFT. you can see over here, you've given them some wrapped ether, you've given them some yay or my token, and this is your position. And in return, they gave you an ERC721 token that represents that position. So yeah, and in the UI it shows up like this. This is the position, and you could actually go to the Uniswap contract and query the position represented by your NFT, and you can see what's inside this position, which two tokens it is, what the fee is, blah blah blah. So the Uniswap token contract keeps track of all of that stuff. Yeah, that's all I have actually.
Okay, we're done. Let me launch a poll asking if anyone managed to swap out any tokens. Like Skandesh and Nisha, you have Yay, so you would be able to like swap out Yay for SolSat. I can give you the address, token address for SolSat.
Thank you. I'll try it over the weekend.
Okay. Somebody is still stuck. Do you need help? Can we help you somewhere?
You guys suggest some resources to sort of dig deeper into like understanding more of this stuff?
Sure. Let's, I think Ethereum.org, the normal docs are the go-to standard. Zeppelin has a bunch of docs. What I can do is we can compile a list of resources, put it in the slide deck itself. Does that sound good?
Thank you. That'd be great.
Okay, is there anything in particular that you want to dig deeper around?
No, I think this is great. This is fantastic to actually see how you actually put the pool on your own tokens on Uniswap, and then you actually swap. But the learning curve is really steep, so I'd like to sort of go through it in my own pace slowly. So that's why I was asking for more resources.
Yep. No, totally get it. I mean,
I think we didn't really explain the Uniswap protocol that much. And yeah, it's a fascinating protocol, and it's a really interesting deep dive that you can do on your own. I think, in fact, we've linked the Uniswap white paper over here. But there's any number of Uniswap tutorials. Like, it's a fascinating protocol on its own. Yeah. So I think we did focus more on the development, and we're showing you that once you have an ERC20 token, you can interact with like a world of applications, including Uniswap. So yeah, but definitely we could point you to some Uniswap specific resources.
Thank you. And also maybe like for next time, I mean, this is really great. Like, I mean, I think I learned more in the last 2 hours than I did in the last few weeks. But if you can also like sort of give a heads up as to stuff that we could read up ahead, that could be more helpful, like you did with the software installation stuff. I think that'll also help be more aware of what you're talking about and everything's working.
got it.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think,
good idea.
yeah, I will keep that in mind for the next one, and we'll send you a set of resources and reading material that would add more context to it before the thing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay. Can we walk through the contract for some DApp protocol, example Uniswap someday? Yeah, that's a great idea.
I would love to do that. Yes. Yeah, that would be super fun. Uniswap, like, actually, if you see, if you look at this transaction that gives you an NFT, right? If you look into it, wow, my laptop is 4%, but you can look at the data. It's a multi-call, and it's like a whole bunch of methods and a whole bunch of data, and you can see why if you go and look at the Uniswap contract. It's like a multi-part contract basically. They have it. NFT position manager, Uniswap v3 pool.sol, fixpoint.sol. It's all of these contracts, some primitives, full math.sol, some interfaces, all of these working together, making internal calls. Is really a whole bunch of contracts, and wow, it keeps going. So yeah, I would love to deep dive into this. I think that would be super super fun. Yeah.
Maybe we can do it for the next one. We're running out of ideas anyway, and it's only two.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post a link to the Discord. It's a very bare bones Discord. It's just a way for everyone to connect. And any ideas, any suggestions that you may have, feel free to post them there even during the week. And yeah, we'll keep those in mind for the next ones. The recording for this, I'll put it on YouTube as well as Discord. And it like we don't have to meet every 2 weeks. We can just keep the conversation going.
Thank you. You guys are brilliant. Thanks for taking your time to do this.
Thanks for joining us. And
Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
okay, Anne is asking, is this the standard way of making your own token or there's another way?
I would say using the Open Zeppelin implementation and the contract library is the standard way that I know of. If you want to write an ERC20 implementation from scratch, you could also do that. The advantage of using Open Zeppelin, it's been audited and it's probably safer than a from scratch implementation.
I think that's one of the biggest pain points of developing on the blockchain, right? Once you deploy your code, you can't change it. So it's even more important that whatever you're deploying is safe and secure and vetted. And the easiest way to have that is extended from something like Open Zeppelin's contracts.
Yeah.
Okay, we are 15 minutes early.
You
but
see the Uniswap people, they also use Open Zeppelin over here. They just import it like we did. So it is best practice. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Akshata, you were saying.
No, go ahead. I was thinking if we should close it 15 minutes earlier, just keep it open.
Yeah, I mean, I will involuntarily leave in a few minutes because my laptop is at 2%. But yeah,
Okay, then we'll.
I think we could close it out. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Then thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Discord. Let's keep the conversation going. And any other feedback that you might have, feel free to post it on Meetup or Discord. This was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, see you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.